Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I'm here today for Junk Journal January, day 13, and our prompt is hobbies. You can see in the description box down below any further information on Junk Journal January. I have linked it. Okay, so hobbies. This got me thinking about how I wanted to do this, and I'm really inspired by, be it photography or what have you, the concept of a flat lay where you lay out a palette of things for some reason. So today that's what I'm kind of sort of being inspired by. And I've done this sort of project before. So if you followed my haberdashery series, I think I did like a haberdashery card or tag rather. And it's just kind of like in the case of the haberdashery, they were all like fiber arts or textile related things that you create sort of a flat lay on a tag with. And so that's what I want to do today with some of my hobbies. So I was thinking about my hobbies and I decided to select a few things. So number one is hiking and just being in nature. So I have this little bit of bark from a birch tree. I love reading and working with paper really too. So I grabbed this little piece of very old paper. This is actually from a 1700s book. And then some yarn because I love to knit and crochet and dye yarn and spin yarn and do all things yarn, weave and what have you. So I'm just going to wrap this into a little skein here so it will be easier for me to make use of. There we go, and we'll just trim this messy end here. There we go. Then I also grabbed some of my hand-dyed sheep's wool. So these are some Cotswold locks that are really nice. And a little puzzle piece because I love puzzles. And I also love mushroom hunting. And there are mushrooms on this puzzle piece. And then just some fabric that's been indigo dyed because I enjoy both natural dyeing and sewing and all things fabric. So the first thing that I want to try to do is take some of the thickness out of this puzzle piece. And puzzles are made from like a corrugation, you know, or a like pasted cardboard, right? So you can take them apart somewhat just by kind of peeling the layers off of the main image on the front. So I'm just going to do that to get some of the thickness down before I decide how I want to attach all these bits. So the idea is doing like a flat lay of your hobbies on a tag. Kind of like a scaled down little picture of who you are through your hobbies. There we go. That's perfect. So we'll get rid of all these little bits we don't need. And if you don't have really sharp little tweezers, like medical style ones, I recommend you get some because they're really great. Okay, so another thing I wanted to add was watercolors and painting with watercolors because that's another hobby that I have. And recently I was very inspired by watching one of Priscilla from the Release the Crafting channel on YouTube. She was doing some really nice swatching that she was outlining. This water bottle is too empty. She was outlining with this really lovely black line. I'm just going to pour a little on here. There we go. And it looked very nice. So I think I might do something sort of kind of like that, but a little smaller. So we have to go a little mini that we don't take up our whole entire tag. So I think I will allow maybe this much of my tag to be watercolor. So then we'll just go in and grab a few colors. I'm going to start with this light one. These are Beam Paint watercolors. They're very beautiful, Indigenous Canadian watercolors. I did not bring my water palette. I'll be right back. One sec. Okay, so I have re-upped on water and we are all good now. So I'm just going to continue going in and doing these little paint palette swatches. And this little collection is their abalone collection, and it comes in a beautiful abalone shell with this fun brush that I'm using that folds up, and it's really a nice little brush, a nice heavy brush to have with your watercolors. And one way to really keep your watercolor technique quite nice is to use like a tape in between, like a washi or a masking tape to mask in between how you're swatching. I'm just kind of free-forming because we're just having fun today. Let's get this little bit of painting done and then we'll move on to the next bit. But I think it's fun to just kind of relax and do a little painting. I have been working on these videos for this Junk Journal January, and then just really working on journals in the background and stuff. So I haven't had as much time to make my kind of casual make along with me videos, and I'm missing doing that. But today I'm starting to plan what my next journal is going to be. Haven't yet quite decided, but I'm getting there. I sort of have a couple ideas for what I want to do. It's a bit of a planning process for me of just sort of looking at the books that I have and figuring out what theme I want to work in. And okay, so that's just fun. Now we'll set the watercolors aside. We'll let this dry a bit and then I'll come back to it. So for now, I think I want to back this with some kind of like a coffee dyed paper or something like that, because I also really do enjoy coffee dyeing papers. But hold on, I actually really enjoy cabbage dyeing too, and I feel like also I enjoy collaging. So maybe we'll just do a bit of a collage on this whole entire tag to give it like a nice bluish background, because I think that would give us a bit of a nice color to work with. Just going to get rid of a few of the wet pages here on my glue book. So let's put the entire tag up here and then just cover it with some glue. Okay. And add this blue cabbage dyed paper. Not a big piece of it actually. And then maybe some of the floral paper. I'm not too concerned about whether this is super glued down because there's going to be several more layers going on here before we're done. And then I will be stitching around the tag to have it all be sort of secure. Just going to let this all run right over the edge. I'm not concerned about if it's yeah, this piece. Okay. Not too concerned if everything is glued down really well yet. Okay. Oops, wrong edge. Okay. Just glue this down a little more. Come in and just kind of give the whole tag a bit of a press. Then I'll trim the excess paper off the edges to just get rid of any sticky bits here and there. Okay, so then I feel like next stage is going to be we're going to lay down the things I think that I'm going to want to stitch. I'm just going to throw a little ink on those paper cores. little ink here and there. There's just some leftover vintage photo ink that I've had on there. So stitching bits will be like this. This will have to get stitched on. So we're going to do a little bit of a layout now. The birch, I'm going to just throw a little glue on the back, but then I am going to stitch around it. I like this in the center. That's cute there. Then I need some little, like a little tiny bit of lock. A nice little piece of lock. Now I chose this red, which I don't typically mix with blue, but I think it's a little interesting. So that can go there. I'll come in and get a little piece of this indigo dyed fabric. It can go here. We have our puzzle piece, which needs to go like that, I think. This can come up a bit maybe. And we still have our watercolor, so we can obviously like overlay these on top of each other a little bit if we want to. And I may mix this up just a little bit here. Bring that up a little, put that there. I'm gonna dry this water up with this bit of fabric. All right, get that out of my way. Now we go back to the watercolor for a moment because we need to finish that bit to put it down. And then also the book page, what I want to do with the book page. So I'm just kind of going to go around this with some micron pen. Just a couple of like messy lines. I feel like I might need to use a different pen. Is this fully dry? Let me dry it and then I'll do it because these micron pens are so grinchy. Also, this will give you a little bit of an idea of how pretty the paint is once it's dry. Let's try this pen actually and see if it's better. Yeah, that's a better thickness. That's what I'm looking for. I typically buy so many different sizes of these pens that I like end up grabbing the wrong one. I'm doing these purposely imperfect. I think that's a part of my own style anyways, that I like to just be a little free-flowing. Don't panic over things. Okay, and then down here maybe I'll just do this. Okay, so then that needs to go on here as well, and I think I'll put that right here at the bottom. Move this up just a little. Yeah, we're going to rearrange a little because the watercolor changes things a bit. Maybe that there. Still like that here. Yarn and maybe the little bit of wool right there. Okay, yeah, I'm good with that. So let's just do an initial bit of a glue down. So we'll move this off here. Oh, and I still need to do my little book thing that I want to do. I think I just want to try to make Where are my scissors? There they are. I want to make this into like a teeny tiny little book. So I'm going to stitch right there. So I'll be back. Actually, no, I'll decide where this wants to go first. I think I may put it sort of here so that it doesn't cover completely any of the watercolors, but it will go there. So let's just keep that in mind over here. Like so. And I don't need all those little pages, actually, just a couple is good. But I'm going to cut them apart here so it does operate like a little book. Actually, we can just trim the bottom. The top's already good, I think. Yep, they're all separate. Okay, so we'll just set that aside for a moment. Then let's do the glue down of the bigger piece of the watercolor. That there. Then I will glue the fabric down. And then the birch, I will re-glue that because we changed position. And the puzzle piece. Okay, so that's going to go there, but needs to be stitched, and that needs to also get stitched. I could use Fabri-Tac glue, but I'm not going to. And then my little fake book, kind of page book. I think I want to change it around a little to have words on the outside completely. I just need to clip the top a little bit. There we go. And I'll stitch that together, and I think I'll actually put it like that. Okay, so it is stitching time. I'll be right back. I'm going to stitch probably around this and this and this, and then stitch that on, and I will stitch the little seam down the book and then come back and we'll work on this a little more. Okay, so I've got everything all stitched on. I'm going to go in a little bit though on this puzzle piece, I think, and just reinforce the edges of the glue to make sure this is all glued down. If it's showing any signs of lifting, like right here, I want to use some art glitter glue to just glue that on down. Okay, so I've left some of the strings kind of long. Mostly they're the ones that are on the back. We're going to clean this all up a bit. These aren't going to matter because they will be covered up, but we'll just trim them down a little. And then you'll see I've stitched around the birch bark. Hold on. So many threads. Okay, so I stitched around the birch bark, the fabric. I stitched the little book on. I stitched the skein of yarn down. I stitched around this palette. I didn't stitch around the puzzle piece because it just doesn't need it, and I've glued it down a little bit more strongly with the art glitter glue. And I also stitched on the wool. It's got a little bit of the paper from the birch bark there. Now I've taken this piece. This is a piece of like my dyed inked paper, which is another kind of hobby that I have, and I'm going to glue that on the back here to just cover up all of the threads from all the stitching, and then we can kind of finish this tag up. I will also stitch around the edge of it. But it got me to thinking about like how fun depicting hobbies could be in this way. Like you could do like a whole journal for yourself, you know, with your hobbies, or even like with whatever's going on in your life in this little flat lay method, where, you know, if you are a stamp collector, you could like lay down some stamps. If you're a photographer, you could print out some minis of your photography. You know, there's all sorts of things that you could like think of like dollhouse miniatures of your life. How would you depict your life in little miniature things that you could flat lay in this way and have a little picture of who you are? So I will go do my stitching and be right back. All right, all of my stitching is now complete, and I think this tag was a lot of fun to make. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I love the watercolors. I love that it's a little depiction of all the things that I love. And yeah, I think it's a nice depiction of my hobbies. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will be back tomorrow for another day of Junk Journal January. Bye for now.